Hello and welcome to another episode of Wannabe Entrepreneur. Just to give you a little context, my name is Tiago, I'm the host of this show, and this podcast is about bootstrapping. More precisely about how it's like to bootstrap your own company. And this is already episode 159. Previously, I was releasing my episodes in a daily basis, and I released every day for more than 100 episodes. And slowly I started to reduce the frequency of my episodes. I changed to release only 5 days a week. And my idea was to share my day as an entrepreneur, to share what I'm learning, and also to interview other entrepreneurs about their own journey. I realized after more than 150 episodes that the content became a little bit too repetitive, because being an entrepreneur is not like in the movies where the hard part is just skipped ahead and you are suddenly super successful. Being an entrepreneur takes a lot of time, years sometimes, to reach the success. And because of that, I decided to change a little bit the format of this podcast. I consulted with you, the listeners, and we agreed that the best frequency for me to release was twice a week. And that's what I'll be doing starting from today. I'll be releasing episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Every Thursday I will release a new interview for you, interviews with other bootstrappers, with other entrepreneurs, and I want to know more about their journey, about the meaning of being an entrepreneur. And on Tuesdays I'm doing let's call it a freestyle episode where I talk about mainly 3 areas or 3 topics. First one is my project updates. Second is the lifestyle of an entrepreneur. So basically how my life is going, the good parts, the bad parts, some reflections, some thoughts. And the third one is tools and bootstrapping tips and tricks for you to also apply in your own projects, because I want to help other bootstrappers becoming successful. And that's basically the new format of this new era of Wannabe Entrepreneur. I hope you like it, and let's get started. Life is about making choices. It's not easy. Sometimes, let's say you go for an ice cream and you reach to the ice cream truck and they have so many options that you cannot decide. It's actually studied that sometimes it's better to have less choices, because you want to reduce the struggle and the pain of your customer. If you have too many choices, your customer will actually take a long time to decide, and chances are that they won't be happy with their choice. This weekend I was with some friends that came and visit Portugal, and I was taking them to the best restaurants I knew. And one of my friends, actually you know him, Wolfgang, he asked the waiter to recommend a dessert. And the waiter said that he couldn't recommend because all of the desserts were delicious. Wolfgang insisted, and he asked for him to pick one. What if you were eating a dessert yourself? Asked Wolfgang. Which one would you pick? And still the waiter said that he would pick all of them, because they're all delicious, they're all homemade. Wolfgang was not so happy with this answer, because as a customer, he doesn't want to make a decision. He just wants to get a great recommendation and to get a great dessert. In the side of the waiter, it also makes sense, because it's genuinely, he also really likes all of them. All of them are homemade and he loves them. So I also realized that as part of being a waiter, it's your job to make your customer's life easier. And that might mean that you have to make decisions for them. When in the same restaurant I asked for the main, I also asked for a recommendation. And the waiter promptly guided me to pick a fish. Even though all the fish they had were delicious, he still guided me, and I was very happy with the result. I think it's it's very important to do that, especially if you are a waiter, because your customers just want to relax. They don't want to take the hard choices. They're on vacation most of the times. And life is about making choices. And when you are growing up, you go through school and the courses are already picked for you, right? So if you want to become an engineer, you already have a set of classes that you should take. You don't have to think about it too much. You just have to study. When you then start working, the company already have everything planned out for you. Sometimes even your whole career. They tell you that you start as a junior, then you move to another level and another level, and they tell you which coding languages to use or which tools to use, and it's somehow easier. The moment you become an entrepreneur, all of this goes to the trash, goes to the garbage, because there's no correct path. And if there is, there's no one telling you which one that path should be. And I've been discovering this the hard way, because since I quit my job, I am very, very far from making money. And when I say money, it's not like real money or to become millionaire, it's even money just to live. And I used to have a very good lifestyle. I worked in Germany, I had a great paycheck, and I generally never had problems with money. I could travel, I could eat out, I could buy things that I enjoyed, and I didn't have to worry too much. But now as an entrepreneur, every time I buy something, I think that I am spending money that I am, not that I don't have, but money that I'm not making. So this is not sustainable. I cannot keep just spending money because eventually I will run out. And sometimes I really feel paralyzed because I don't know what to do. This happened to me this past week because I sat down in front of my laptop and I didn't know what to do. My podcast views have basically been stagnated for the past months. Same with my climate change app, and I just don't know what to do. I felt really paralyzed, and I went on Twitter, which is kind of the main platform I'm using to hang out with the community, hang out with other bootstrappers, and I asked. I didn't even ask. I actually just shared my feelings, and it was great because I got so many great answers and feedback from the community that immediately made me feel better. And I want to read some of these answers now. So Dagobert, a fellow bootstrapper that I have also interviewed here in the podcast, you should definitely listen to his interview. He said that for him, he has the opposite feeling, but with the same result. He has too many ideas and don't know where to start. And I also completely understand this. When I look at Change It, I have a Trello board filled with ideas, filled with features, and sometimes I just don't know with what should I work with and which feature should I start with, because every feature means work. Every feature means me spending my time in front of a computer building new code for my users, and every time I release and I don't have the success that I was hoping for, is kind of a cut in my motivation, is a punch in my stomach. And I don't know how many or how much of this can I take, because as long as you have a motivation bar, let's just think as a video game, right? You have instead of your health, you have like motivation, and every time you release something that doesn't bring the results you're hoping for, it takes a cut in your motivation. So I completely understand this. And another interesting tweet was from Leanne, and she says that I get this way when I feel like I lose focus and my brain starts working overtime to complicate things. I combat it by forcing myself to take a break and simplify everything down. And this is something that I really recommend everyone to do, but I also know that it's really hard. And for me, every time I get into this state of being paralyzed, basically spiraling down and thinking that I'm not worth it, that I cannot make it, the best thing to get out of it is actually to do something completely different. I should watch a movie, go for a walk, do some sports, hang out with my friends, something that really disconnects my mind, because then when I get back to the problem, I have a fresh mind. But I also know that this is very hard to do because I just want to solve this problem. I just want to make money, solve whatever bug I'm having, deciding which feature I want to work next. And I feel that doing anything but that is just a waste of time. So it's really hard to get out of this vicious cycle. So I do think it's a great recommendation, but sometimes it might be a bit hard to do. Another interesting answer was from J3N Johnson, and she has a more academic or scientific approach. She says that immobilized feeling can happen from the freeze-fight response. Movement is a backdoor to the decision-making frontal lobe, so it helps to do your planning while walking. And this is very interesting because I've witnessed that myself. And even at Trivago, some of our one-on-one meetings we had these meetings while walking, while going for a walk, and really helps to flow the conversation. And I do that also sometimes to organize my ideas. I go for a walk, and it's a great way to kind of come up with a plan for your next steps. And I can read you one more. There were great other answers, and I will link this tweet in the description of this episode so that you can go and listen to it. But Jeff Levin said that just do something, anything. It doesn't matter what, it will teach you something and inform you about your next move. And here he's actually saying that you should have a part-time job or something, do something completely different. Being working on a restaurant or whatever, I guess, makes you happy too. And I don't know if I would do this, but I really love sailing, for instance, and I have considered to somehow become a part-time sailor. Because, for instance, in Portugal, it's very common to take the tourists for sunsets, and it's by the way good money, and it might be interesting. I wouldn't do this every day, but since I love sailing so much, I probably will want to make someday a product for sailors, and kind of being part of this world already could be really valuable for me. So, Jeff, that's a really good answer as well. And that's, as I told you, many other answers that you can read. It really helped me, this. I have to be honest, because when you share this, when you share your weakness or your down moments with the community, and they really come through and they really support you and tell about their own struggles, it felt really good, and somehow felt that I was not alone in this fight. So it's great to have this bootstrapping community. And I went for a weekend, I relaxed, and now I'm back with a fresh mind. So that was great. And I want to talk also about my app, my Change It app, and about what features I'm working on and kind of what plan I'm coming out with. And I have released a new feature that I'm really happy with, which is the possibility for users to create their own notifications. And I think that this really goes really well with my plan for the app for the future. And I advise everyone to do this. If you have a product, you should always think about your USP, and USP means unique selling point. And when I first started creating Change It, which is by the way, a climate change app, and if you don't know and you want to know more about this app that I'm building, there's many other episodes that you can go and check it out. But I downloaded a lot of other apps. I kind of did a market research and installed a lot of climate change apps. I tested and I see which ones I like the most and what features were missing. And I didn't find anything that would somehow solve my problem. And that's why I then created Change It. But I think it's very important to know what you have that the other apps don't. And I defined my USPs. I have three USPs. First one is our content. It's very simple content, very easy to set up and to get your footprint. You don't need to do a huge survey or so. That's definitely one of our USPs. Then the other one are our notifications. We have personalized notifications that no other climate change app has. So that's also really a great thing that we have going. And also we have an eco store. Basically, we showcase products and sustainable products that will help people live a more sustainable lifestyle. So all of this goes along with our mission, which is to make sustainability accessible to everyone. And every new feature I release for Change It, I always think if somehow gets changed more closer to this mission. And the notifications feature that I just mentioned, it does, because I want to send more personalized notifications, and I cannot do that myself. The app is available everywhere in the world, and I need the community to help me build this content. And by enabling users to create, I'm solving my problem, because I'm solving the content creation problem, and I also enabling these users to have a bigger impact in their community. So this is a feature that I'm very excited about. And my plan now is to have a meeting with Alexandra. She's the marketing expert that I interviewed also in one of my previous interviews. By the way, you should definitely listen to this interview, because if you're a bootstrapper, she mentions a lot of great tools that will help you with your own marketing. But we will have a conversation, and she will help me somehow to create a marketing plan for Change It. So next week I'll let you know how this conversation went, what I've learned, but I'm super excited about it. And I also want to finish this episode with a couple of tools, a couple of marketing tools that I've been exploring, that I think they are very interesting, and you should definitely check them out. And the first one I want to talk about today is actually coming from the conversation I had with Alexandra. She recommended a lot of tools. Some of these tools are not free, and they are actually, I was checking them out, they're actually quite expensive. You can have a free trial of 7 days or so, but I found some that are free and great for bootstrappers. And the first one is called Union Metrics. Alexandra mentions this also in her chat. And this one has many free tools. So when you go to the website, there's a tab that says free tools, and one is actually a Twitter assistant. And a Twitter assistant is somehow a tool that will analyze your profile, will analyze your tweets, and give you some suggestions on how to improve your presence and how to get more followers. And I tested. It's very simple to set up. You just basically sign up with Twitter, and it's very interesting. So they immediately told me about one of the tweets that I had that had a lot of impressions, which basically was the tweet that I just mentioned about feeling paralyzed. And they also told me that my video tweets could be much better, so I should work with different hashtags and different images. They told me that the best time of the day, or rather of the week, to tweet is on Sundays at 2 p.m. And they also told me about some hashtags I could use. It's really nice, because they told me they identify basically that I'm using the hashtag build in public, which is basically the only hashtag I'm using. And they said that I could try out also with the hashtag MVP. So they suggest you other hashtags, and also they suggest which people you should interact with. And they spoke about a couple of other Twitters people or Twitter users that I should interact with, because they have a big presence. So this is a great tool. It's somehow similar to the tool called Tweet Hunter, which was developed by Thibaut, someone that I also interviewed. By the way, you should also listen to his interview. And he goes one step further. So this is also a great tool that is Tweet Hunter. It also does this analysis, but also just suggests tweets for you. So it basically analyzes your scope, your Twitter presence, your content, and suggests tweets that worked out for other similar accounts, and you can just take them and refactor them a little bit, and they normally have great success. So Union Metrics and Tweet Hunter are great tools for Twitter, and everything will be linked in the description, so no worries, you can just go there and read them. Another tool that it's free and I definitely suggest is Google Trends. Google Trends is basically a tool that analyzes the keywords. So you can, let's say, search for bootstrapping, and then you can see how frequently people are searching for bootstrapping on Google. You can compare bootstrapping with an entrepreneur, for instance, and you can see how different they are. You can see which regions in the globe people search more for it, and it's interesting because now when I search for bootstrapping, it seems that in Asia people are speaking more about bootstrapping, in China, in South Korea, and Hong Kong, and this is really cool. And they also show you different keywords that people are using with bootstrapping. For instance, here it says that people are also searching for what is bootstrapping. So this is definitely a great tool for you to also check out which keyword you should use. And when you're writing a blog post, when you're writing the descriptions of your products, you should definitely check which keywords are the most searched. And also in that genre, SEO genre, something that I just discovered, but it looks amazing, is called Answer the Public. And you can basically discover what people are asking about a certain keyword. So let's say I speak about bootstrapping again or entrepreneur, they will generate a lot of questions that people are searching on Google. So this is a great way for you to get some ideas on what topics you should write or speak about, and also maybe some suggestions on what the titles of your blog post should be, because you know that people will search for them. I realized that Answering Public, they allow you to do 3 questions or 3 searches per day. More than that, it's not free, so you have to pay, but I think 3 is more than enough. And if you want a little hack here, if you have a VPN, if you switch your IP, you get again to do another 3 questions. So I mean, there's some way here for it's a bootstrapping way of using this tool, and this is a great tool as well, and I'll be using. There's many more, but I'll be sharing these other tools in the next episodes. I will also link these tools in the description of the episode so that you can go there and check them out. And this is all I had planned for you today. As you can see, these new episodes will have 3 topics that I will mostly focus on. The first one being the lifestyle of an entrepreneur, and the second, the project updates, so basically speaking about my projects, what I've learned, my struggle, and so on. And the last one, some tools and tips and tricks for bootstrappers that you can also use in your own projects. I really want to help bootstrappers. I want to help people build their companies and make a change in the world. So that's kind of the main purpose and my main focus on Wannabe Entrepreneur. And I don't want to do advertisement. That's not the way I want to monetize my podcast. I know that's the very common way, everyone does it, but I just do not enjoy it. So if you want to see this podcast thrive, it's up to you. It's up to you to become a member of Wannabe Entrepreneur or to buy me a coffee. If you do so, you also get some perks. If you, for instance, become a member, the price is €4 per month, and you get access to prime content, and you get access to our Wannabe Entrepreneur Slack channel. And there are so many entrepreneurs already there. A lot of people that I interview are hanging out there, and you can use this to find mentorship. You can use this to maybe find some co-founders, to get some support, to chat. And I want to do more around this community. I want to build an office or a virtual office where everyone can hang out and work in their projects together. And I want to do a lot of things. So if you want to be part of this family, and if you want to support this podcast, because of course you will be the reason why this podcast exists, you can become a member, and the link will be in the description, and it's €4 per month, or you can just do a one-time donation, and that's a coffee or 2, and that will really mean the world to me. I'm also really interested to know if you liked this new format, so there'll be a tweet where I will ask this. The link will also be in the description, and you can come there and give your feedback. And last but not least, make sure you share this episode with all of your bootstrappers and entrepreneur friends, because you probably have a lot of them, and they will also enjoy listening to Wannabe Entrepreneur. Thank you so much. This was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. See you Thursday.